Hey folks, LA Little here, TA Today, sharing with you my 40 plus years of market experience. I want to go over just a quick little timeline of what I've put out. Uranium is the primary market I watch. I've got a large investment in this space. Back here, on this particular bar, this is on a weekly, and I'm looking at the SRUFF Physical Uranium Trust. I'd said, hey, that's a sign of strength, right? Because we've been doing this down stuff. We got a sign of strength. That was the first sign of strength that we'd had. This whole move down. If you go way back and look at the videos, I'd called a top back up here and said we're going to have some sort of a range. Didn't know it'd get this low, but it did. You never know at the beginning exactly how it's going to work out, but they took off 30+% on this thing. So anyway, we had a sign of strength back at that area, right? That told us that we're getting close to a turn, right? If that was not the turn, we're close to a turn. And then what do? Well, they come right back down early September. They test that low, get up underneath it. Looks like we're going to have some trouble, and then it's takeoff. And a lot of times you'll see that, right? You'll see some sort of a sign of strength and then some sort of a washout move where you just kind of throw the last few out that just can't hold on, and then you get your dynamic move back to the other side. At this time, right, this market is doing everything you want. Let's take the long-term time view, right? Big kind of wedge thing if you're doing the old school. If you're doing my stuff, there's a breakout right here and a breakout right there. Those breakouts tell you you're on for a good run. That's on a monthly. And of course, that's what it got, a big run. Now you get a retrace. What did it retrace? About half of what it did on the way up. So, maybe a little bit more. But now it's starting to turn, right? But there's not much here technically to look at. Where you have your action is on the weekly. You have a swing point. Just look at your swing point lows, right? Each one of these arrows that go to the downside are telling you're breaking a swing point low. So each time you break a swing point low, what you should expect is a retest regenerate of that swing point low. And if it can get over it, well, then something's changed. And so if you go to each one of these, and let's just take this one as the first one, you broke this low, you broke this low on this particular bar. So what do? You want to get back over the top of it. It tries, but it fails. And what does that do? That leads to the next break here. Breaks this swing point low. Now you want to try to get over that. What does it do? It goes back up, tries to do that, again fails. What does that end up doing? Well, that ends up coming down and breaking another swing point low, right? You break this one right here. And so when you break underneath that one, what do? You come back up, let's take the top of it, and you try to get over it, and you fail. Each one of these failures is telling you that trend that's been to the downside is not done. Those are regenerations to the downside. You got to get a stop of regenerating to the downside to get some upside. When does that finally happen? Well, draw that line back across that swing point low, the high of that swing point low. It happened right here, right? And it was at that price point, or at that particular point in time, that I issued another video and said the range low is in. It's in now. You got a confirmation of that on a break of a swing point high on the very next week, which is here, this arrow. And now you're coming up after this swing point high. It's a little harder to see, but it's buried inside that resistance zone that you see in the red. And it got within 2 points of it on Friday. This is being recorded on October 18th, Friday. 2 points of it, but not hitting it. Now, if you look at the volumes between here and there is a little bit more volume back there than there is here, and so I'm kind of glad it didn't hit it. I don't want to hit it, test it with less volume, and then fall back. I want to test it with more volume, or just simply get over it and stay over it. So I suspect what you're going to see next week is it's going to break this swing point high, or at least it's going to get over it. Whether it ends over it by the end of the week, I don't know. But right now, that bottom is in, and it's telling you that the trend has changed. Now, whether the trend is up or simply it's going to be some sort of a range, maybe this range to begin with, maybe the higher range. That really depends on, you know, what happens in the news and the fundamentals. If we go over on the daily chart, you can see it's struggling here at these highs. And on Friday, it actually got over and back under with less volume. Now, this is on a daily, so there's a lot more noise over here. But that says that, you know, this thing can pull back some as a result of that. If I look at this one, you had a key breakout right here. That's on this bar, right? Here's your retest regen, and it regenerated higher. Now, I'd like to not see it come back here again, because if it does, it will probably come deeper. If it comes deeper, it's going to come back to this swing point. Now, the good thing about this swing point, that high is 25.99, this low is 26, it hasn't been tested. Anytime you haven't been tested and you go more than 6 bars, and this is way more than 6 bars now, this has an extremely high probability that it's going to get bought in the top third of that zone. And so I would think anything in this 26 area is probably going to be a damn good buy if it comes back there. Now, you know, $2 down, that's 10%. Nobody wants to see that. But if you get a 10% pullback here, you're going to want to buy it. That's the setup. That's on the Uranium Fund Trust, the trust fund, right, on the physical. Now, I want to skip over to the uranium miners, because the miners are starting to catch fire even more so. And here I'm focused on using calls for a larger move to the upside. That way I can stack and, you know, leverage up. Just got a 10% move this week. Let's look at it now. Let's go back over here. I've got it on the monthly. Remember, on the monthly, the retest regen is on this swing point high. It broke over it on this bar, and so it's trying to get under it here. It can't. It regenerates to the top side. Folks, that's classic neoclassical TA, right? You get over it. What do? You retest it. If you get back over it, which you did, and you come back, that's the second test. Odds are not as great that you're going to hold it, and you're probably going to do a full test, which is exactly what it did. Now it's regenerating to the top side. Yeah, actually, let's make sure it's regenerates 52 and close at 52.89. Yeah, so it's regenerating to the top side. Come over here and look at it on the weekly. So monthly, looking beautiful. On the weekly, the same principles that we talked about on the UUN, same principles here. You can see here's your breakdown. This bar, right? This bar here breaks that swing point low. What does it do? Tries to get back over it, can't. Here's where it finally gets back over it, telling you that this bottom is in. Now, you know, if you wanted to gamble down here and say, you know, you got a lower test at this price point on this bar, you know, one could gamble there and say that might be it, and it would have turned out to be a good gamble. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. At this point, you know it's over, right? And look at the move you get after that. That price point top was 44, roughly 45, and now you're sitting at 53, right? So you get 8 points on 45. That's a large percentage, and you get it all within a month. So coming up, doing the same sort of thing, going after a swing point high, hasn't quite got there. That top's 53.28, got to 53.16. You're doing more volume coming into it, 3.5 versus 1.99. This looks to go even higher, and you can see it scaling nicely over here. The good thing too, if you go over here, is you're not stretched anywhere, right? Nothing stretched on the MTTFs. You have this bearish one. As soon as this gets over this swing point high, it's going to flip. It's going to flip back. It's going to flip like to sideways, actually, because it hasn't hit it didn't get a swing point high here, and it'd have to make it to the top to actually take bullish again. But you've got exactly what you'd want to see. You're starting to see some confirmed numbers on the top side. 67.86 is the long-term confirmed. You've got a 54, 57 number short-term. I expect this one's going to get hit pretty quickly. And folks, this just looks great. You can go to any of the individual stocks. I'm not going to pull any of those up right now, but you know, CCJ, some of the big ones, they're already at highs. This thing's going to the highs again. If you're not in it, you should be in it. I'm LA Little. If you like what you see, if you want me to look at other things from a technical analysis standpoint using Neoclassical, just let me know, right? And I'll try to work that in somewhere. Uranium, you got to be in this. I don't know, how high it's going to go, but you can already see here some very large numbers out there. Here's a potential 94 number on the stocks themselves. And before I quit, I want to go back real quickly. I believe the UUN, yeah, nothing's extended there either. And you can see a 53, 54 number on this. Folks, long way to go still. Have a great one. Take care. Leave comments. If you like it, hit the like button, subscribe. See you next time.